beginning of 2019, I did a special review called the Custom Mega Review, where I took a look at every single custom Disney Cars diecast I'd made up to that point. Today, I'm going to be doing something similar but different. A few weeks ago now, I released my Ties Cars 4 movie, about like a week and a half ago actually. It was a huge project that I spent several months working on in order to celebrate the anniversary of the Cars movie, the 15th anniversary back on June 9th. For this big fan film, I made several customs, a total of 39, and I thought it would be best if I just reviewed them all in one big video. So anyway guys, welcome back to yet another review. Today we're going to be taking a look at every single custom car that I made for my Ties Cars 4 movie. So let's get started. We're going to have to move through these relatively quickly because there are just so many. And, by the way, there will be spoilers for Ties Cars 4 in this video. If you haven't checked out my fan film Ties Cars 4, definitely do that before watching this video, because again, there will be some spoilers in it, especially regarding like character designs, obviously. But anyway, we're gonna start off here with one car that actually wasn't in the movie. This is the Ties Cars 4 Ty, a custom of my channel avatar, my profile picture, Ty, who you guys have probably seen my normal diecast of. I decided to promote Ties Cars 4, I would make my own Lightning Cup version of him. Since Ties Cars 4 focuses around a special series of races called the Lightning Cup, and all of the Lightning Cup racers have their own unique designs, I thought it would be cool to do a Lightning Cup version of Ty to sort of promote the movie and just be like a cool additional thing. This used to be my Redline Lightning McQueen. Now he's got a new life as Ties Cars 4 Ty, or Lightning Cup Ty. I'd probably call him Ties Cars 4 Ty. So you can see on the hood we've got the Lightning Cup logo. Got the headlights there, and on the side, Ties Cars 4 is written instead of where it usually just says Ty. It's painted basically the same as the normal Ty profile picture with the 129 there. Nothing on the back or anything. But yeah, you can see the base is the same as that previous Redline McQueen. And speaking of McQueen, let's take a look at Lightning Cup McQueen, the first custom completed for Ties Cars 4, which is why his Lightning Cup logo looks a little bit different than some of the other ones. Compare him, the first one made, to Ty, the last one made here, and you can see that, yeah, the Lightning Cup logo did change a little bit. This used to be a Thailand Cars 3 McQueen that I had for several years, in addition to my Made in China one, and now, as you can see, I've given him a new life. So we've got the LC on the hood, standing for Lightning Cup. Like what I did here, we've got red on one side and orange on the other. It was kind of difficult at first coming up with what colors to use for this McQueen. My Cars Adventures custom McQueen that I've used for over a year now is red, blue, and black, and I like that color scheme, but I wanted to do something that was more like classic McQueen, so I went with red and orange. Also added some gold in there, the 95 on the roof. There's the back. I kept the headlights and tail lights intact. Moving on to some of the other Lightning Cup racers, Chick Hicks. This was also previously a Thailand Chick Hicks from a 2-pack last year. This one is probably one of the best looking Lightning Cup customs. He's got this whole grid design going on. For the 86, I actually traced over the original one and colored it in gold. So I'm glad with how that turned out. I don't like how like stubby the lightning bolt on him is, but I don't know. I decided not to take up much space with the lightning bolt logo for Chick. I decided to just keep it in like this little area that's sort of raised up a bit. And it's funny, I didn't really think about it until now, but Chick Hicks has the smallest lightning bolt logo out of everyone, and he'd probably be the most hesitant to have like a lightning bolt logo on him representing McQueen, although he did have those Thunderbolt stickers. Got his wheels there. I will say I sort of regret not changing the wheel color for some of these characters. I was really proud of my work, though, going around the windows and not accidentally painting over any of the stickers on the windows. I'm proud of my work with that. Really nothing to see on these bases. Now, the King here is a very interesting case, as in the early trailers for Ties Cars 4, he looked completely different than he did in later trailers and in the final movie. I decided to change his colors from light blue and gold to gold and black, and I really think this is an improvement over that original design. I also painted in my own eyes for him. One of the only times I've ever done brown eyes for Cars characters. For those of you wondering, because I'm sure I'll get a comment about it, I use Sharpie paint pens, oil-based Sharpie paint pens, to paint my custom cars. and then I'll do some smaller details with normal Sharpies. I recently realized I had a brown Sharpie, so glad to finally be able to give characters brown eyes, but it's a bit more difficult to do than using the Sharpie paint pens. I think it looks good on strip here, although I will say probably should have done another coat of gold on that lightning bolt there. He's got 43s on the side. If he looks familiar to you, his designs or anything, that is because he used to be self-sponsored the King in Cars Adventures, and not much really was changed with him aside from just like the color scheme and all that. Really should have colored over the windows for some of these customs. Moving on to the Cars 2 racers in the Lightning Cup, we have none other than Francesco Bernoulli, who I newly purchased for Tires Cars 4. Picked up the Thailand, Francesco reviewed him, and now here he is as a custom. Got the Lightning Cup logo on his hood. You can still sort of see the 1 peeking through there underneath the red paint. I like how he turned out. You know, in some places I kept the original paint intact and just added some red. I knew he was probably going to be the most difficult one to repaint, although I will say repainting him was a bit easier than I thought it would be. We've got the number 1 on either side, very small. We've got just the red added in on the spoiler. That could have used a few more coats of paint, but I think he turned out okay. There's a look at his base. Now moving on to Jeff Gorvette here. I really like how he turned out. He used to be one of my all-time least favorite customs. My absolutely awful looking McQueen's Team Jeff that became my Redline Jeff. And I think I really sort of salvaged him. I think I really saved Jeff's design. But you could see, if you're familiar with that other custom, a lot of the aspects of that are still intact. I sort of based him off of some designs for the real Jeff Gordon's race car. I thought that would be cool, so I took some inspiration from some different designs that he actually had. I like the flame design I did here on the front with the Lightning Cup logo. I think his expression is pretty funny. Probably should have given him a more determined expression just because of how his mouth is, but I don't know, now he looks a little confused. Got the 24 on either side of him. And yeah, I think I definitely saved what was previously one of my least favorite customs. Another one that was previously a Thailand variant that I got from a 2022 pack. Lewis Hamilton here. Lewis is the only car who I decided to keep most of the original paint for. I don't really have that shade that Lewis Hamilton is painted. He's painted sort of like a brownish black, and since I don't really have that like within my paints, I decided to just keep him as he is, and I think that turned out really good. We've got the Lightning Cup logo on him. We've got the number 2 on the sides, covering up his World Grand Prix logo. That's why that part has like its own little unique design. And the back is also colored in some yellow as well. If you're familiar with my McQueen's Team customs of Bobby Swift and Brick Yardley, then their Lightning Cup versions will probably seem pretty similar to you. I didn't really change them all that much from their versions from my McQueen's Team movie since I really liked how those were. Meanwhile, Cal Weathers over here actually got to keep his McQueen's Team variant and his Redline variant intact. This car that you see in front of you wasn't actually previously Cal Weathers. This was a spare that I had of Cars 3 Dirksen D'Agostino. Maybe it was a bad move since he's probably pretty rare due to just being in a few multi-packs a few years back. But I had a spare of Cars 3 Dirksen D'Agostino that I made into his own Redline version, and since I wanted to keep my other Cal customs intact for Tires Cars 4, since I really like how they both are still, I decided I'd repaint Dirksen, who looks pretty similar to Cal. They have the same mold and pretty similar eye colors, and that is how the Tires Cars 4 Lightning Cup Cal was created. I like the design on him here. It's probably not my favorite design. The red wheels, by the way, stayed from the Redline Dirksen custom that he previously was. We've got the 42s on the side. The red on him was actually a pretty late choice. I just thought it was kind of necessary to add a bit of an additional color there, and I'm glad that I made that choice for him. Moving on to Bobby, like I said, pretty similar to his previous incarnation, just with some updates. More orange on him. The orange wheels probably should have been repainted as well. Got the 19 up top. His eyes have now been painted over. Same with the eyebrows. For whatever reason, I thought it would be nice if I kept the spoiler purple. I don't know why. I just thought that would be like a nice touch. The wheels, though, they really remind me of those old carnival racers from a few years back. Moving on to Brick, he also got just some tweaks from his McQueen's team version to turn him into the Lightning Cup version. Got his 24 there on either side, and very large on the roof. I like his expression. I think that turned out pretty well. And then the back is kind of blank. Unfortunately, I'm running out of orange paint, so he looks a bit spotty in some places, but there wasn't really much I could do about that. In the past life of this cruise, she was gold, and she was Cozy Cone Cruise from one episode of my Cars Adventures series, which, by the way, I should probably mention Ty's Cars 4 and Cars Adventures are not canon to each other. Just thought I'd mention that. Definitely said that before, but since I'm bringing up Cars Adventures and my other movie so much, I should probably mention they're like different continuities. But anyway, so this cruise was previously Cozy Cone Cruise in the Cruise Turns episode of Cars Adventures, where Cruise, who at that time in the series was evil, crashed and forgot that she was evil, like she lost her memory, so she rejoins like the Piston Cup racing for the Cozy Cone, and then by the end of the episode, she's evil again. I think she probably crashes again, I don't quite remember. But for whatever reason, that Cozy Cone Cruise stuck around for a really long time. That episode was made at like the end of 2018. But now, she is Lightning Cup Cruise. The Lightning Cup logo there, 51's on her. I really like how the blue turned out. But yeah, the gold on her windows stayed from when she was that version of Cruise. I also really like the Lightning Cup logo on the back. I wish I had done that with some more characters. Probably should have, but yeah, I've always liked this concept of having a cruise where like the back part of her is blue and the front is yellow. I really like that. Like they did it on the XRS drag racing cruise, and I really liked that. So I've done it on some of my cruise customs since then. By the way, this right here was the first thing you ever saw of this cruise, the back, because I revealed it in a poster that I believe I released on like Easter. Moving on to Jackson Storm, his past life was Vampire Jackson Storm, and the black part here representing the vampire's cape stayed. I didn't even like paint over it again. He's got a pretty aggressive Jackson Storm expression, Lightning Cup logo there on the front. I really liked how Racing Red Jackson turned out, so I thought it would be cool to try another Red Jackson. I like how small I made the number, and then we have this thing which is kind of resembling the Jackson Storm S logo there. And then the back is just blank for him. And finally, for the Lightning Cup racers, we have none other than Cara Crashwell. Cara Crashwell, Chick Hicks' new rookie racer, and the main antagonist, basically, of Ty's Cars 4. She actually got two variants. This one you saw very briefly on Chick's Picks, and then this one you saw for the rest of the movie. We'll start off with this one, even though it is not a Lightning Cup variant. This is the HGB Cara Crashwell, as of course Chick Hicks and Ty's Cars 4, spoilers, like I warned earlier, he buys back HGB and is going to have Cara race for it. Got the HGB logo there on the hood, of course, that was Chick Hicks' sponsor back in the first movie, brought back those balloon designs. She is racing under the number Infinity, kind of similar to how Jimmy Cable's was number 00. She does have her rookie stripes back there, but you never see her back in the movie. At least not in this paint job, so I didn't really spend much time on them. They definitely could use some more coats of paint. Don't quite remember what this car used to be. I think it was... oh wait, I just remembered. It was a custom that I had for several years. It was the graveyard car Ryan Inside Laney from Cars Adventures Halloween special. Then it was supposed to be the Joker in a Batman parody I was supposed to do, and then it became Cara. Meanwhile, the other one may make some people a little sad when you learn that this Cara, the main one, the Lightning Cup Cara, actually used to be the red Chase Race-A-Lot that I was repainting in my old intro. Before every video, for well over a year, you would always see one shot of me in stop motion painting this red Chase Race-A-Lot, who was his own Redline variant. And now, that is Cara Crashwell. So we've got the Lightning Cup logo on her hood there. Pretty different facial expression here. I just kind of traced over Chase's eyes. We've got the Infinity on the sides. Red wheels, which I didn't change from Chase, and I think it turns out pretty okay. Got the Infinity on the roof there. In case you're wondering what happened back here, probably should have fixed this. I noticed it while I was filming and just didn't fix it because I was already like halfway through the movie. At one point, I guess I put my finger on the car when the paint was still wet and a bit of it came off, and now it's this like weird design on her spoiler. She's got nothing on the back, and the other side just has another infinity. I was really concerned about how the infinity symbols looked on Cara. Several of them I had to redo several times. But Cara Crashwell wasn't the only new next-gen Untitled Cars 4. There were also these 4 guys, originally made to be replacements for the 4 next-gens we were yet to get back when I started planning this movie in February. So, at that point, Will Rush had just come out, but I was yet to find him. M-Fast Fong wasn't out yet, and we didn't even have images of Nick Shift and Jim Reverick. And since then, I have gotten Will Rush and I've gotten M-Fast Fong. Nick Shift has just been released, and we'll probably be getting Jim soon. We know he's coming out at some point in this second half of the year. But yeah, I made these 4 racers as some of the first customs for the movie. But by the time I started filming it, I had found both Will and M-Fast. Despite that, I decided to keep all 4 of them in anyway. So we're going to go through these one at a time. They're all absolutely packed with references to some of my other things. Even though Untitled Cars 4 isn't in the same continuity as Cars Adventures, I threw a ton of Easter eggs to it in there, including some cameos of customs I made for Cars Adventures. In case you're wondering why that purple car in the montage, the travel montage, isn't in this video, or the custom blue Fiat, those are both Cars Adventures characters. There are a few Cars Adventures cameos who weren't new characters, new customs for this movie, so I didn't include them here since, again, they were originally made for Cars Adventures, and their inclusion in the movie is just an Easter egg. This guy right here is Jaden Fast. He was a cameo in the movie from Crazy Cars Canada. He's actually a reference to a very minor Cars Adventures character from very, very early on in the series. That guy's name was Jaden Fast. He was only in a few episodes, and then he blew up. So, yeah, there's that. He raced for Faden Paint Company, and I thought it would be cool to reference that super obscure character by making a new racer for Faden. Of course, everything about him is a reference, from the sponsor to the number being the same, to his name being Jaden Fast compared to Jaden Fast back in Cars Adventures. I really, really like what I did with this guy. Faden was meant to be a paint company, and I think I'm so proud of this custom. This is one of my all-time favorites. It's got rookie stripes and everything. I just absolutely, absolutely love what I did for this custom here. This honestly might be my personal favorite custom that I did for the movie. Moving on though, we got the other guy who speaks in Untitled Cars 4. This is Road and Trailer, a reference to fellow Cars channel Robin Tailsfighter, who of course is a good friend of mine, and we've worked together on several projects, including the movie. He helped me with some of the designs and also did the voice cameo for this character, so Road and Trailer is sort of a tribute to Robin Tailsfighter's Blackfire Racer customs, using the same model and a very similar design that I sort of added my own spin to. Just like Robin Tailsfighter's custom, he is number 30. He's got Blackfire written there on the back. I really like how I did the flame designs on him. I think those turned out really well. Now moving on to the next racer. This guy right here did not speak in the movie, but his name is Jerry Motoro. He races for a Wheelo, which is a reference to that blue Fiat that I just mentioned you, cameoed in Untitled Cars 4. He is a Cars Adventures character, a tire maker named Giuseppe Awilo, who's sort of got a rivalry with Luigi. This guy, in his past life, was the Red Line Danny Swervez. Actually kept the same face. You could actually sort of see the Find Him writing underneath the Awilo writing, which I didn't even notice until I started filming him here. It's really hard to see not on camera. But yeah, Awilo tires. He is number 113. We've got this logo here with the A. And this was all done so that I could make one joke, a reference to the classic Pixar A113, which I snuck into the movie in a very brief shot of this side of Jerry here. We've got the A for Awilo and his number 113. Yes, I only picked that number so that I could do an A113 joke with him. And finally, we have Frankie Fabulous, the Fabulous Fuels Racer, a new take on the design for the Fabulous Fuels racer in Cars Adventures, whose name is Fabulous, based off of a good friend of mine who was actually my first subscriber, Fabulous Cars Fan 129. And yeah, he in Cars Adventures had his own custom, still does. It was a repaint of a Cars 2 McQueen, raced for Fabulous Fuels, later Fabulous Incorporated, and this racer basically shares the same design with Fabulous, just sort of updated and on an actual next-gen mold this time. But yeah, this isn't supposed to be like the Ties Cars 4 version of Fabulous. This guy is his own separate character. We've got the Fab Inc. logo there. He's number 129, just like my profile picture, actually. Moving on to the back, got the rookie stripes. I really like how he turned out with the blue, the red, and the gold, and there is his base. And that wraps up all of the Piston Cup racers, but how do these racers get around? More specifically, how does one of these racers get around? Well, look no further than who may very well be one of my most ambitious customs of all time. I bought a Mac hauler and repainted him. This used to be a Cars 3 Mac that I bought and turned into a Dynaco Cruise Mac hauler. I didn't want to go with the design that we see for a Dynaco Mac at the end of Cars 3 with that image of Cruise flipping on the side. I didn't want to go with that. That would be too difficult for me to accurately redraw, and also I wanted something that was just more like Dynaco-like. So, I can detach him here. As you can see, he is just like your typical Mac hauler, just repainted with some 51s and such with the yellow and blue. I really like how he turned out. I would have painted other parts of him yellow and blue, but I was too concerned about messing up here by the eyes because of the hat. So yeah, I went with the sort of yellow and then you have red there, which I think actually turned out really well. I actually really like how that turned out, and I'm glad now that I kept that red on him. We've got 51s on his mud flaps, which you couldn't even see in the movie, but I thought those would be nice touches since the normal Mac has Rusty's logos on his mud flap, or mud flaps. And here is the hauler. It just says Dynaco 51. This was a paint to paint. I actually ran out of yellow and I had to go buy new yellow paint. But you can see Dynaco 51 on the back, and it opens up just like your typical Mac. But even the inside door is colored in yellow as well. And at one point I actually planned on coloring in the tool cart, or whatever you want to call that, on the inside, but I didn't go through with that. And from one variant of a major Cars character, we move to some others. These are the two custom Ramones that I made for Ties Cars 4. I knew that I had to make some of my own Ramones. I really liked how these guys turned out. I chose to do two new Ramones, in addition to showing the fan favorites Ramone in the movie, to make for a total of 3 Ramone variants. I did that because both Cars 2 and Cars 3 have 3 different versions of Ramone in it, not counting like Purple Ramone being in the credits of Cars 3. So, I thought that was appropriate. If I did 2 customs and included the fan favorites one, making for 3 in total. This pink and yellow Ramone is a repaint of the 2021 Made in Thailand updated green Ramone. He shares some similarities to my former silver and gold Ramone that I had for several years, which is actually what the next guy is a repaint of. This guy used to be a silver and gold Ramone for Cars Adventures, and before that, he used to be a spare of Cruisin' Ramone, or old school Ramone. So since he's an older car, he doesn't have that radiator springs thing in his back window. He is a repaint of the original old school Ramone. I actually got him in the Jonas Rivera 3-pack, and then repainted him into this. So he's not the 2020 version of old school Ramone, where I believe he did have that thing in his window. He shares a paint job with Lightning. Yeah, this is Ramone's Lightning Cup look that he's wearing to support Lightning and the other racers. He wears it for most of the movie, for the entire duration that they are at the Lightning Cup. So, thought it would be nice to have him sort of paint himself just like Lightning as sort of a tribute to him. Now, going into Ties Cars 4, I knew that I was going to need a lot of different background characters, and I thought it would be cool if I designed some of my own background characters for the movie. So, I bought several different cars to repaint and to just make into background characters. Like this guy right here, who appeared in Radiator Springs. He confused Flo's customer, Ricky Radial, who was voiced in the movie in a cameo by BGM Studios. I like how this guy turned out. I like how the way that the blue paint worked Made him look sort of faded with his paint. There's really not much to say about him. I kept most of him the same, you know, as Dusty. Didn't change the expression, just painted over the eyes. And, you know, I just made him blue. Just made him into his own different character. Then moving on, we have the one new Tokyo background character I made, who's already an absolute icon on my channel. If you're familiar with my live streams, I'm sure you are very familiar with Hot Topic Suki, as she's become known as. Unfortunately, it seems we're having a bit of trouble with her paint. I'm not sure how this black paint got on her, but I definitely have to repaint that with pink. Hot Topic Suki here, real name Akio. Thanks to Robin Tailsfighter, by the way, for that name suggestion. That's probably what I'm going to be going with. But yeah, this character became known as Hot Topic Suki after I showed her on several of my streams due to her sort of like goth-esque appearance and the fact that she's a repaint of Suki. I like how she turned out. I actually did 2 dots of eye shine in the eyes, which I thought was a nice touch for her. And I just based her off of the other cars that look like her in Tokyo, made her in Cars 2. You know, Chisaki, Harumi, Suki. And I thought that this was a good color combination for her. I really like the silver bow up top. And yeah, I like how she turned out. And it's funny to have her. She had such a minor role in the movie, but leading up to the movie, she appeared on my streams quite a bit just because we sort of had a running joke with her. And up next, we have this guy right here who was a total pain to repaint. Like I said while reviewing Brick earlier on, my orange paint is running out and has been for quite some time. This guy took so many coats, and I'm still not really proud of how he turned out. There are a lot of areas that I wish I could have gone over with another coat, but whenever I did go over with another coat of orange, it would still leave all the same holes in the paint. So eventually I just told myself, you've got to stop here. You can't keep repainting him. It's not going to change anything. You just got to go with what you have. And I think he turned out pretty okay. He's got a golden grill instead of Doc's silver grill. And his name was Rock Hudson, according to the credits. That's what I named him. He was a voice cameo from the world-renowned Turbo Tractor. Originally, his name was supposed to be Dwayne The Rock Hudson, as a reference to Dwayne The Rock Johnson, which I just thought would be funny. Didn't really make much sense, but, you know, I cut that reference and just called him Rock Hudson, sort of similar to Doc Hudson. This next group of characters make up the Road Dent Gang, and I really like how they're all pretty similar to each other despite all being very different models. I kept these characters out of all of my promotional stuff for Ties Cars 4. They didn't appear in a single trailer. I thought that was cool, just sort of hide one of the aspects of the movie, even though I did show the leader of them, this Flow repaint here, a couple times on stream before she was finished. This is Allie Way, the leader of the Road Dents. Like I said, she's just sort of a Flow repaint. Black with some silver details. These dots sort of like studs on a leather jacket. These guys were originally designed to be sort of like a biker gang made up of cars, so, you know, that's where the black and silver on them came from. Although they're, like, the idea behind them really evolved as I kept on working on the movie. And in the final version, they're just this gang of illegal parts resellers. But, again, I still gave them sort of a very biker gang look. This one right here was, I believe, Scrape. They were Scrape, Chip, Scuff, and Dent. And Scrape here was a repaint of APB that I ripped the lights off of. Just do a quick 360 of him there. Really, not much to say. This guy here, Chip, used to be Rusty Rusties. Of course, the Dusty Rusties that came with him became Ricky Radial over there. And he's just got his usual silver detailing, just like the other guys. I like when I had the silver sort of smear. I think that looks pretty cool on some of them. This one, of course, used to be Broadside. I really like his expression for, I believe this one was Scuff. Just another one that I thought looked pretty cool with the black and silver. And finally, Dent, who spends most of the movie locked up in the Radiator Springs impound lot. We don't see him when we see the rest of the Road Dents. Should have really painted over his wheels. He used to be Broadside. Yeah, I really should paint over his wheels. He's, of course, had the roof rack from Broadside ripped off, though. And after them, we got into our final group of characters, the Lightning Cup staff, reporters, and fans. I made a pretty good deal of fans for the Lightning Cup. I just wanted to add some fans for different racers who haven't had fans released for their characters yet, and I just wanted to do some other ones as well. But before that, let's take a look at the Lightning Cup staff, the flag waver, and security car. The flag waver here, an Eric Langley repaint, is Alejandro Safe Wheel. I really like his name, Alejandro. Of course, like I said, it's a repaint of Eric Langley. He's got the Lightning Cup logo on him, that really tiny Eric Langley flag, and a black, gold, and red design, which is shared with Jennifer Wheellock here, the security car, who of course is a repaint of Alex Carville. We've got Lightning Cup security written on both sides there, except here it just says security since I couldn't fit the Lightning Cup logo on that side. I really wanted to do a tow truck as well, but since Race Tow Truck Tom isn't currently available, couldn't get him. But yeah, I did want to do that at one point. I didn't want to use a Mater since, I don't know, Mater isn't really like a professional looking tow truck. I almost ordered a Race Tow Truck Tom online, but I didn't go through with it, and that's okay because Jennifer in the final version of the movie was barely in it, just towards the end. So I'm not even sure where I would have put the tow truck in. Hero Hot Wheel is a reporter that briefly appears at the end of the movie. He was voiced by Cars Ignite 95 and is named after Hero, the main character of Cars Ignite's actually Angry Birds series, Hero's Quest. I thought it would be a nice reference. This was another one of the first customs made. This guy is a green Andrea repaint, and I don't know, I think you could definitely tell that. Really not much to say with him. I just sort of based him off of how like Andrea and Maddie are very similar. They're just different colors, so made a green character in the same mold. And up next we have another few characters that I mainly kept under wraps. Lightning Cup versions of Mia and Tia, who I did a pretty bad job at hiding would be in the movie. Whenever somebody asked about them, like when some people noticed that I showed 2 Mia and Tia card backs in my card back collection video, I would always go to, what? No, maybe they're for Cars Adventures, you never know. And in my hunt video, I just straight up said they were for Ties Cars 4. But these 2 briefly appeared. Since Mia and Tia were not in Cars 3, to my disappointment actually, since they were in so much other Cars content before then, I knew I had to put them in Ties Cars 4. They're basically identical. They share designs with Lightning Cup McQueen and Ramone. Of course, they were repaints of Diecasts, Mia and Tia, since those are the only ones currently available, so you can see some blue on them. But, you know, they just appear very briefly, so it really didn't bother me, and you could see Mia and Tia. Well, we didn't have Mia and Tia in Cars 3. We did have this character right here, Maddie Mcgear, who I thought it was only appropriate to bring back for Ties Cars 4. I wish that I could have found the 95 and 51 Maddie Mcgear to repaint instead, but unfortunately I could not. Luckily for me though, I didn't actually have to go out and buy a new Maddie Mcgear to repaint since I had one just laying around from the 2-pack with Melissa Bernabreak. It wouldn't have made a new Maddie Mcgear if I didn't just have this one lying around actually. So this is Lightning Cup Maddie Mcgear, very similar to her normal variant, just with some gold on her accessories and a Lightning Cup, just LC there on her flag. The rest is just absolutely identical to your typical Maddie. But hey, that would be nice to just make like a bit of a little change to her for this. Up next, we've got a Cal Weathers fan, Brendan T. Quick, a voice cameo in the movie from Sam's World of Cars and Vlogs. This car actually took several repaints. Yeah, it was actually kind of difficult at some points. I had to redo the eyebrows, had to redo this part up top. Of course, previously, Cartney Carspur. Got the 42 up there with the red stripes, just like the Lightning Cup Cal has. And yeah, the car's just blue. Really nothing all that much, but I do really like how this one turned out. Then moving on, this one right here is Katy Frontrunner. Really like that name. This was a Sally repaint from the Radiator Springs Cleanup 5-pack, who briefly appears as a Cara Crashwell fan towards the end of the movie. Another one of the first customs that I started work on, but actually one of the last ones I finished, which is why you only see her towards the end of the movie. Probably should have colored in those back lights, but I really like the front here with the expression and the infinity on the hood there. And finally, wrapping things up, I wish we had more interesting cars to end things here, but we don't. We have these two cruiser repaints, the Motorton sisters, Mary and Carrie Motorton. Mary is a big fan of Brick Yardley, but Carrie is a big fan of Bobby Swift. Strange then, that the one who's a big fan of Bobby Swift isn't painted purple, whereas this one is. These two both have Lego pieces hot glued to their tops. You could see the glue there, but I really wanted to do some fans with hats, and I just thought using Lego tiles was an easy way to sort of simulate the types of hats that the race fans wear. These two were both just spare cruisers I had lying around. This was actually a Diecasts Sally custom for Cars Adventures, used plastic. It used to be a plastic cruise. And this was actually the original Chicks Picks cruise, who of course is a metal cruise and is missing her mirrors. Why did I cut those off like 3 years ago? I don't know, but these two really don't have all that much to them. But, I thought it was nice. It was always nice to have more background characters for Ties Cars 4. And that wraps it up. Those are all 39 of the custom Disney Cars diecasts I made for Ties Cars 4. From Lightning Cup racers to Piston Cup racers and everything in between. Definitely let me know which of these customs is your favorite in the comments. I've got to say my favorite is probably the Fade-In racer there. And yeah. Anyway guys, thank you all so much for watching and for continuing to watch and support Ties Cars 4. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye now.